we go. Okay, so it's not too late. All right, so mindset, awesome. So I already told you your gift, your book is your gift to your world, to the world, right? Some of the stats on this are that 81% of Americans feel like they have a book inside of them. So you're not alone. Like there's so many people who want to write books out there, right? 97% of the people who want to write books and start writing their books never finish them. They never finish them. And I'm pretty sure that some of you all have started writing a book, but you're here today because you need help with finishing it, right? You're stuck somewhere. Somewhere you're stuck. Or you need
Yes.
help because you don't even know how to get started, right? So that's what I'm here for, to get you jump started. Okay. I see you talking about that's you. I feel it. So a lot of times people experience imposter syndrome, especially women. I don't know why we experience this so much harder than men, but just out of all of the great things that we do, right? Like no matter what we've accomplished in life, no matter like how much experience we might have, we still experience imposter syndrome, and that can, a lot of times deter us from writing and finishing our books, right? But I just want to remind you that if you have experience, knowledge, expertise, and unique perspective, you've got a story, okay? And there are people out there waiting for you to write it just so they can read it and so it can change their lives. So remember that, right? So, in order to write your outstanding transformational book, you have to first believe that you can do it, right? That is the absolute first step. You have to believe it with emotion that you can do this. If you don't believe it with great emotion, you will not become an author. But I know y'all gonna believe it with great emotion, right? Because y'all gonna be authors. I know it. I know it.
Yeah. Well, I was crying before I tuned in, so that's pretty
I
emotional.
know. You got this, girl. You got
I
this.
thought I was like 30 minutes late. Like, oh my God.
Oh no, you got this. You about
And
to
it,
get it for real.
it was perfect.
So, okay. I have a client, his name is Kitten, right? And he is a visual artist. He is a talented visual artist, right? He's also had his own art shop, right? So he's been like a business owner within the art field. He also is a teacher. So he teaches art to, his students as well. And you know that he came to me when he first started working with me, and he was just like, Andrea, I don't really know if anyone will want to read what I have to say. Even after all of those accomplishments that he's had, like all the things that he's done, all the experiences that he's had, you know, now he's just finished, just a week ago, he's just finished his first draft of his manuscript, and it's like he has so much value to add to the marketplace, to his marketplace. And so let me just be the first to tell you that, again, if you have that experience, if you're knowledgeable on different topics, if you're an expert at something, or if you have a unique perspective, you have a story to tell. Okay, so we're gonna start off like the workshop with high vibrations, right? Because like the reality is that if you really want to become an author, you have to have the right mindset. You have to, a successful author, I might say, you have to like be high vibrational. So can you, whoever can is able to chat right now, type in the chat, I am an impactful author. This is your affirmation. I am an impactful author. I just want to see it in the chat. Somebody. Whoever can type right now. I want everybody to do it if you can, but
I don't know how. I'm old school. I don't know. You're trying to figure it out.
someone doesn't know how to chat. I am an impactful author. And then awesome. Also, I'm seeing it. If you can come off mute with me right now, and I want you to repeat these affirmations with me, so that we can put it in the atmosphere. And just the act of you like saying it out loud, right? Putting it out there, you typing it in the chat. It is going to be more impactful if you are writing it, with your hand, with your pen, but it is still going to be impactful as saying it out loud and typing it in the chat. So if you're able to come off mute, repeat after me these affirmations. I am an impactful author.
I am an impactful author.
And you have to say it with feeling. Say it with as much good feeling as you can, because you have to believe yourself, right? So my story has great meaning to me.
My story has great
meaning to me.
And it will touch the lives of others in a positive way.
And it will touch
the lives of
others in a positive way.
I aim to add value to my readers by writing a book.
I aim to add value to my readers by writing the book
that is transformational and empowering.
That is transformational and empowering.
Financially, spiritually, physically, or mentally.
Financially, spiritually, physically, or mentally.
So that's the first step. Congratulations, everybody. Thank you for coming off of mute. And you got the first step down. So I hope that you all have your notes and your pens, because I'm about to give you the 5 steps now that you need to get started with writing your book. So it's going to be really good that you are able to take notes, because these are the actual steps you're going to need so that you can move forward today with writing your book. So let's go. I went backwards. Let's move forward. All right. So step 1, how to get clear on your book subject matter. How to get clear on your book subject matter. Okay. So your title, your book title, it must draw attention. Okay. It has to be something that catches someone's attention, because it's going to be on the front cover of your page. So not only just the book cover is important, your title is important, because your title is what is going to attract the reader. That is most likely going to determine whether they want to further seek, look into your book, or if they, are turned off by the title, or they might think, oh, that's not anything that I need based off that title. So that is very important, right? This is an important part of what is going to sell your book as well. Your subtitle. This one it's going to be like the main benefit or lesson that your avatar will get from reading your book. And we're going to get into your avatar as well. But for those of you who are not familiar with avatars, it's just your target reader. So it's going to be the main benefit or lesson that your target reader will get from reading your book, or it can be like supporting information. So like, for example, one of my clients, Philippa, she is writing her book. Well, actually, she's done writing it. We're in the publishing phase now. And her book is called I'm Not Your Superwoman, right? And her subtitle is A Caregiver's Story. So this is her memoir on her life as a caregiver, taking care of her daughter, who has been living with sickle cell, and just going through like her crises, and telling that story, but also giving the empowerment side of it for other caregivers to pull through, to be able to like pull through and get through any type of situation like this. So that supporting information is a caregiver story. So that lets you know if you're a caregiver, if you're part of her target audience, then you're gonna be like, let me check this out, you know? And then also it might stand out to them just because of the book title, I'm Not Your Superwoman. It's kind of like, you know, dang, why is she saying she's not my super? Like most people want to be that superwoman, want to have that, you know, have that power, right? Why is she saying I'm not your superwoman? So that kind of gets people's attention too. Then next you have your book topic, theme, or thesis. So you want to decide on like, you want to get really clear on what your book subject matter is going to be, right? So like I mentioned before, it's going to be based off of this is what I recommend, right? Let me just rewind it. So I recommend to do it this way, the way that I'm gonna tell you about, because there's a lot of people that come to me and they want to write like biographies, autobiographies of their stories, or like memoirs. And, you know, a lot of times people do not care about your story, right? Let me tell you how they're going to begin to care about your story and want to get to know you, by you adding value to them, right? So if there's something that you have experienced or gone through that you pulled out of, that you were triumphant from, you know, if there's something like, for example, like you beat cancer, that's something that people would want to read about who are in that audience, because they want to figure out what you did to do it, or what you went through to beat cancer, right? So we're writing books based off of any experience that you've had, your educational background, any expertise that you had, whether you worked in like corporate America, or you have your own business, you have business experience, or any like type of unique perspective that you have just from living your life, right? So lessons that you've learned. You want your book topic to be on something that you can teach, something that you've overcome, lessons that you've learned, or something that you're an expert in, right? So the types of nonfiction books for you to write. So this is answering your questions, Maya. So the types of books that I help with are specifically self-help books or memoirs. If you are someone who wants to write like a children's book or a fiction book or something like that, I do have a recommendation for you that I can give you. Just let me know. But this is not the workshop for you. But you feel free to stay, because this might give you some ideas of like what value you can add that you didn't, you know, have in mind before, right? So these are the different types of books within that category that you can kind of like begin to think about. A legacy book. So these are stories or a story that you want to share with others, right? Really compelling stories. Then we have a principle book. These are based on lessons that you've learned and that you want to share with others, right? Then we have a subject matter book. So this means that you're an expert in a particular field or on a specific topic. And then we have a lead generation book. So this means that you have a business and your sole purpose of writing your book is for it to be a lead magnet for you. Just for example, like if you're familiar with Dan Kennedy, he has a lot of books like this. Like he's published so many books, but he has a lot of books that he uses to pretty much lure the people in to get into his high premium offer, his membership program, right? So you can also write a book like that if you're in business. And then you can also write a how-to book. And that's just a book that's going to teach the reader how to do something, right? So these are the types of books that I recommend that you write, because people are like wondering like what's in it for them, you know? And so by writing these types of books and sharing what you know and like what you can teach people, you are going to be able to weave your stories from your life into the book. So don't think that you're not going to be able to still tell your story. Like this is what it's about. Like you adding that value to people, but the examples that you're giving are coming straight from your life, right? The examples that you're giving, the lessons that you learned are coming from stories from your life. And that's what's going to bring your book together and give it more life and allow people to relate to you and feel you on an even deeper level, because you're not only teaching them something, but you're giving them examples and they're getting to know you to the core, you know, the core of you. So that's really, really important. Let's see. So whew, I already told you about my client, Lilipa, how she wrote a book about the struggles she's had with being a caregiver. And hers is like a memoir type book, but it basically shows how she overcomes those struggles and how other people can too, right? Um, Also, let me see. I don't know. Let me see who's here because I know some more people have joined. Um, hey Dante, how are you? Awesome. Okay, so just for an example, another example to give you guys a clear understanding of these types of nonfiction books. I'm gonna just use my mom as an example. So she's been a child care provider for over 20 years, right? So she literally can write a book to teach someone how to start a childcare business, right? And like an in-home childcare business. Um, she's already taught so many other people how to start their own businesses, and she's done it in multiple states, right? So if she wanted to, she could literally write a book on this that aligns with her business that she's already in, because now she has a virtual learning center. And then another thing is she has over 36 years of experience as a mother. So you can literally write a book as simple as something on a subject of parenting. Like I know you, Sparkle Bailey, you're here today, and you you're a housewife, right? You're passionate about being a housewife. You can literally write a book about housewifing, if you may, and give those lessons that you've learned as a housewife, or these experiences, and like really, really, really show people how important being a housewife is, and like how valuable, being a housewife is as well, right? So she's saying that's the plan. Awesome, awesome. So let's move on to step two. Before we move on to step two, though, are we getting value so far? Just with step one, have we received some value? Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if so. Let me know. Let me know. All right, one person is getting value. All right, I mean, should we just end it? I mean, I don't want to, waste you guys' time. You feel me? Maybe I need to work on my stuff a little more. All right, I'm seeing the ones coming in. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get it. We ready. All right. So step two, how to decide on who your target reader is. Who's laughing? All right, Sparkle, you laughing at me. Let's go. Okay, so this is the avatar that I was talking about, right? So if you've never heard of like an avatar, in marketing, they use this term a lot. And it's basically, I would say, like your target audience, like who, so as an author, your avatar is going to be your target reader. Now, we're not just talking about like demographics or, like we're going a little deeper than that, and we're going to focus on one person So when you're writing your book, you want to have this one person in mind, right? So I have a list of, I think, about 25 avatar questions, actually. I didn't fit them all in the presentation, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in the chat right now so that you all can have the link to that and you can save it to your computer to refer to back later. But these are some of the questions that you want to ask. Well, actually, you want to ask all these questions to figure out who your avatar is, who you have in mind, right? So your avatar, like here are some of the questions. You want to, first of all, first and foremost, give your avatar a name, right? Give him or her a name. That's really important because you want it to be, this is going to be the person that you're thinking about every time you sit down to write your book, right? So, what is their age? What do they do? What are their pronouns? What type of music do they listen to? Who are their favorite artists? What shows do they love? What podcasts do they listen to? Where do they live? What country, state, city? Are they a parent? What is their marital status? And then on the form, that link that I put in the chat, grab that. There's more questions on that for you to really dive deep into who your avatar is. There's questions like, what problem are they facing that might, that your book might help them out with, you know, so it gets a little deeper. But here's a few examples of like avatars, right? So Cindy, she's a real estate agent. She's 54 years old. Her pronouns are she, her. She loves jazz, vineyards, and poetry. She lives in Philadelphia. So I put this one specifically here because I knew my accountability partner, Dante Washington, was going to be on the call today. And Cindy would most likely be his avatar, right? Because she lives in Philadelphia and she's in a good age range, you know? And if he's writing a book to teach real estate agents different things within the real estate field, then she's going to want to connect with him and see like what his or not connect with him, but read his book to see what she can learn from it, depending on what his subject matter is, right? And then we have Jeremy. He's a company CEO, 35 years old. Him, married, father of two, loves Earn Your Leisure podcast. So you can see like with the different people, there's different ideas about them, right? And so you just have to figure out who your ideal reader is, and that's literally going to be, you're going to have this person in mind when you're thinking about, when you're writing your book, when you're thinking about, okay, like, what can I give Cindy? What does she need to know? What does she need to learn? Where is she right now in her life? You're going to see with those questions. What is she going through right now that she needs to know? So then that helps you to figure out, you know, what you need to put in your book, right? So step 3, how to plan to start writing your book. Let's go. All right. So I highly recommend that you read the top 5 books in your industry. Why do I say that? Because you have your knowledge, right? Of what and you have your story and your experiences of what you want to put in your book, right? But that is only going to expand your knowledge and give you like different facts, different perspectives, it's going to help you to also know how to better write your book as well. So if you are not able to read 5 books, at least, you know, read a couple of other books or skim through some books. Or if you're not a big reader like that, which if you're a writer, please start reading. If you're not a big reader like that, there's audiobooks, right? So these same books, you can listen to them on Audible or their audio versions. Or you can also listen to like industry podcasts that are talking about these topics that you have in mind to write about. So that's another thing. Then you want to come up with a deadline that you want to have your book finished by. Write this down because this is very, very important to you being able to get your book done. So I'm not talking about like a date a year from now. Like you don't need a whole year to write your book, right? Make it a date that's a few months from now at the latest. At the latest, like you literally don't need that long to write your book. You can do it. So make this date an immovable date. Write down immovable date. This means that you cannot move this date because it's attached to something. So for example, if your birthday is coming up, like if your birthday is, let's say, May 20th, set that as the date you want to have copies of your books in your hands. Okay? If there's like an event or a summit that you want to be considered as a speaker for in August, then set your date to have your books in your hands on July 1st. So this is an immovable date. It has something else attached to it. So that means that you cannot move this date. Like your mind is tricked into knowing that you have to have your book done before this date, right? You have to have it written before this date because you want to have your books available so that you won't miss out at speaking at that event, so that you won't miss out on doing like a big birthday launch for your book. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Put some ones in the chat if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, so that's very important, right? Then you want to, once you have your date, you want to block off consistent time on your calendar to begin writing your book. This is time that you're able to be consistent. So I won't know your schedule, right? But you have to sit down and look at your schedule and say, you know, dang, I'm going to commit myself to Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. for 1 hour to work on my book. Or only on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm going to block off this time to write, to work on my book. Like this has to be a commitment, right? So that's a major key as well. Then you want to make sure that you are visualizing your book's progress. So we're in the next step, we're going to get into like outlining your book, and that's going to help you to visualize your book's progress, because you're going to literally be looking at your, you can like just type it up really quickly, your table of contents. So that's like your list of all the chapters of your book. Basically, you can just print it out real quick, hang it on your wall, and you're just visualizing your books being finished, all of the books being written, right? And as you write each chapter, you can literally cross off each chapter, and you're going to see your progress because it's hanging right there on the wall. And that's something to celebrate, right? You celebrate every time you finish a chapter, and that's going to give you the energy to keep going. So that's, I keep saying this, but that's a major key too. That's a major key too. So definitely please use that tip. That's going to help you to keep going. Then also another tip for you is to take notes in your phone. I always found it really beneficial to me when I'm working on a book to keep like a running list in my phone. Like, so if you go into the notes app in your phone, whether you have an Apple or Android phone, you literally can, any thoughts that are coming through your mind throughout the day, just type them in there on the notepad, and have a special category, like name it something, you know, like working on my book, or, you know, name it something special, and then just use that. So when you're like out and about and a thought comes to mind, or even if you're driving, if you stop at the stop sign or pull over or something, just write it out, because oftentimes we'll get really amazing thoughts for our books, but then we'll forget them. because we didn't write them down. So that's a good tool to use to help you to remember all of your amazing, amazing ideas, right? And then you want to plan to write. I would recommend between 30 minutes to 90 minutes for your book each day. Each day, not every day. I'm talking about each day that you already set aside in the previous step. You know, each day that you already set aside on your calendar. So I'm talking about 30 minutes to 90-minute sessions towards your book. And don't overextend yourself. Like when it's time to stop your session, like stop. Unless you're really in a flow state, you know, where it's like you're jamming with it and it's amazing, it's fun, like you can keep going, but don't make yourself keep going. You want to come back with a fresh mind the next time, right? Sparkle saying she gets mad when she forgets a great thought. I feel you, girlfriend. And then I'm just going to go back to my recommendation of reading the top 5 books in your industry, because if you're familiar with like the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, there's there's countless amounts of authors who have taken that book and used his principles to write their own book. So, and that book is actually a part of the public domain. So people are able to really, you can literally take certain excerpts from that book and like publish your own version of it, you know? So that is a major key. Like there's books out there that are already, you know, top notch, and you can just be adding like a different perspective from it. So you definitely want to be familiar with like your industry in that sense as well. Not only that, you want to set your environment for your book. What I mean by that is like you really have to like set the tone, right? So for me, I literally boil some tea. Like I boil some tea, I get in the room, I light a candle. Like I really make sure that my ambiance is great when I'm writing a book, but I'm gonna go through that a little later as well. So step 4 is step 4. All right, how to outline your book. All right, let's go. So you want to take your unique book theme from step 1, right? The book theme that I talked about, and you want to divide that into 3 sections. So take your unique book theme and divide it into 3 sections. So for example, one of my clients, Brandon, he divided his book into 3 things needed to get rich, because his book is about like in his book, he's teaching people how to get rich, right? So his 3 sections were mindset, relationships, and finances. So you want to do that same thing. Divide your book into 3 sections. It could even be something like birth, middle ages, death. Like that's just an example. Like, of course, you're not dead yet, so that wouldn't apply to you, but just giving you some examples, throwing them out there. So that first part of outlining your book is just taking your theme and dividing it into 3 sections that you feel like your book, those are like the major keys to your book, the major topics of your book. Then you want to subdivide each section into 7 to 21 chapters. Now, I recommend 10 chapters, like that's gonna be your sweet spot. Anywhere from like 10 to 12 chapters, I would say, really, honestly. But you decide, depending on like what type of book you have. If it's like super comprehensive, you might need more chapters, or you might have like 21 short chapters, but I recommend anywhere from like 10 to 12 chapters. So it's going to be different from if you're writing a memoir to like a self-help book. So I'm going to go through both of those. If you have 10 chapters, this is just an example. If you have 10 chapters in your book, you're going to have 3 to 4 chapters in each section. So when you subdivide those sections, those 3 sections into chapters, you'll have 3 to 4 chapters in each section. So you want to name each chapter, right? And this is really important because the name of your chapters should catch your reader's attention too. I don't know how many times I've opened up a book and went to like the table of contents and I saw chapter names that stood out and I got excited about like, oh, I can't wait to get to that chapter. Or I might even just skip to that chapter because it seems so interesting. So you want readers to come to your book and get excited about the chapter names. And so just some recommendations for that for memoirs. You want to think about when you think about your chapter titles, you want to think about like what are the top things that have happened in your story? Like what are the top major things that have happened in your life based on like what story you're trying to tell? What is some unforgettable dialogue or conversations? Like what are some unforgettable dialogue or conversations you've had in your life? For example, my client Evan, she wrote a book, and in like one of her chapters is called "Clean Your Plate," and she's just talking about how like being from down south, like her family always like had it like where you needed like they always said like you need to clean your plate, like you know make sure that you eat every single thing on your plate, right? And her book she talks about like her weight and like how she's had like weight issues or like people having issues with her weight and like just going through that journey, right? So one of her chapter titles is Clean Your Plate, and that really stands out. It's like, wow, like what does this mean? Because I know a lot of us have probably even heard that in our families, right? And then she has another chapter that
Lauren's just going swimming, she said today.
Poor Aaron. She has another, somebody might want to mute. She has another chapter that is based off of like conversations and dialogue that she had, and it's called You Look Different. And this is based off of like situations where she lost a lot of weight. And then when she saw people, they didn't really like people that she knew, they didn't know how to give her a compliment. They thought she looked a whole lot better, but all they would say is, you look different, you know? But they didn't want to mention her weight because they felt uncomfortable or, you know? But so she addressed that, and that was one of her book titles. So you want to think about those types of things, you know, like what are some conversations you've had, things that have happened. For self-help books, you want to think about like what are the steps to getting to the outcome, like what is needed to reach your book's promise. Those are going to be your book titles, right? Okay, so let me see, is everybody muted? I don't know why I can only see 8 people on. I know it's 1 people. Hey, Laura, can you mute? Okay, I just muted her. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Samaya. Okay, so awesome. Now let's move on to the next step. And that is how to avoid writer's block. So literally, like, I don't know if you guys ever have seen like my videos and I'm like, writer's block does not exist. Like it's like for me, like me being a writer is so annoying to me because it's like, it does not exist. It is in your mind. It's literally in your mind, right? And so if you want to write, you just write, right? And I know that might be hard for a lot of people who are not writers to hear, but let's not make it difficult for ourselves. So the way to avoid writer's block for you guys is to follow those 4 steps that I mentioned before. If you have a plan, the number one reason why writers run into writer's block is because they're not coming in with a plan. They don't have a plan. That's the number one reason. So if you're armed with this plan to begin writing your book, you're not going to run into writer's block, right? So you have to develop your very own writing ritual, right? So what I was talking about before, how I boil my water for my tea, right? I make sure that I have a hot mug of tea. I like drinking tea while I write, right? Then I make sure I'm in a quiet place where no one else is around me. This is my own ambiance, right? And then I get into that room by myself. I have my tea. I burn some sage or Palo Santo to clear out the room that I'm in. I really enjoy like that type of stuff, clearing out my space. And that just gives you that refreshing, that refreshing feeling, right? Then Maya, I light a candle. Okay. She has a candle business, so I had to call her out. I light a candle. Then I put on some good mood music. So if you were here like at the beginning of the workshop, I was playing some music. That's the type of music that I play. But it's literally like some music that has no words, some very light, vibey music, right? And I also play that while I'm on my sessions with my clients as well to help them, um, to get the juices flowing. Then also like just don't allow yourself to get stuck, just keep writing and let it flow, right? Um, Another reason why some people get stuck is because they try to write and edit at the same time. Mm-mm. That does not work. That does not work. You will find it very hard to finish your book if you're trying to write your book and edit your book at the same time. So I highly suggest that you write first, and then you can go back and edit later. But you just want to let it flow on these writing sessions that you're doing. Write first, edit later. Just remember that this is only your first draft. Like every author has a first draft. So just remember like that. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Stick to your writing schedule and know exactly like what you're writing that day, right? So if you have your writing schedule, you have your outline, you have the chapters already that you thought of, witty, great chapter names that stand out. When you get to that writing time on that day, you already know what to write about, so you have that. And then you just want to keep it flowing. And then again, don't overextend yourself, So moving on to the next step. So that was 5, right? But I do have some bonus things that I want to give you really quick. So these are like bonus resources for you all, like while you're writing your book. Some people are better at speaking than writing. So I work with my clients and I have them like I have some really good speaking clients. Like, so we use this app called Timmy, Temi, and we use it for recording and transcribing audio, right? So it's essentially you're going to be speaking into the app to record your book. So you can write that app down. There's actually numerous apps that are able to do this. So you don't necessarily have to use that one. But if you are recording your book into an app like this, I have somebody in the chat because that's her name, Cindy. That's so funny. If you are recording your book like this, then you there's going to be a charge for you to transcribe it. But the charge is like, it's nothing. It won't be any more than like $50 for you to transcribe your whole book. And I think I'm like, that's like giving you a higher price, So it's nothing to transcribe it. So if you are one of those people who is good at like speaking more than writing, then that is another option for you to just do it like that. Then Google Docs. You can use that for writing and editing. I know a lot of us use it, but some of us don't even consider it as, the word processor. It's a free standard word processor that you can use that allows you, it also allows multiple people to work on the same document simultaneously. So I use this with my clients for editing purposes. So when they send me their manuscript and I'm going back and editing it, I can actually add my suggestions there. I can add my comments in the margins. I'm able to edit it as well. So It's a really good place to go, and it's free. And then there's another website called Hemingway for editing sentences and words. It allows you to pretty much edit like your manuscript for if you have like lengthy sentences or like run-on sentences. If you're, it edits it for like overused words, different word suggestions. It gives you more concise wording, and it also tells you like what grade level your writing is on. So don't, if you like put your manuscript in, I'm gonna put this in the chat too, just as a resource for you, the website. And this is a free website too. Now, if you're like they have a version where you can download to your computer, and you have to pay for that. But you can literally just go to their website and do it, and they'll tell you like the grade level your writing is on, and it's going to be good if your book is on a 5th or 6th grade level. Unless you're writing like a medical book or a major like research industry specific book or something like that, and where you need that type of jargon, your book needs to be on like a 5th or 6th grade level. It needs to be like understandable for like the average person to read, and like not get so caught up on words and things like that. So Hemingway is a really good app for that. And then also we have your notes app, like I mentioned before, for the books ideas that come to your mind throughout the day. So you want to definitely take advantage of that. So that is the end of our workshop. I thank you all for joining me here today. Of course, I have like an invitation for you to work with me if you need like further help with writing your book. But I mean, it's not a pitch, it's an invitation. That's what I like to call it, because it's, whether you feel in it and you want to take that step or you're not, you feel me? So I'm gonna just go into that for those of you who are interested in that. If you're not interested in that, you are on your way to writing your book still. And like stay connected with me. My Instagram is at Andrea Kitten Perry. And just stay tapped in. I'm gonna go into the offer now to let people know what we have available for you to further support you, right? So I have the Book Bay Bootcamp coming up. It's a 14-day book writing bootcamp. And at the end of this bootcamp, your manuscript, your first draft will be written. So literally, like, you can move into May with your book done. You know what I'm saying? And like be in the publishing process. So about the boot camp, you're gonna have a live Facebook group accountability. So the other people who are in the boot camp with you, you're able to like share your experiences, encourage each other, like make sure everybody keeps going. The workshop starts this Thursday coming up, April 21st, and it goes until Wednesday, May 4th, right? So it's 14 days. And I know a lot of people like with their schedules, like you don't have time to like commit 14 days at a certain time. So it is literally like you're gonna receive video instruction from me every single morning on what to do that day to write your book. And you can watch it literally at any time of the day, right? So that is like what's really beneficial, because you have pretty much all day to work on that book. And if you, and this is me really being right there with you, taking you through the steps, right? And then I also will go live for Q&A with the group to answer any questions that you might have, and to help you through any areas of your book that you need assistance with. And those meeting dates are going to be Sundays and Wednesdays for the next 2 weeks. So that's April 24th, April 27th, May 1st, and May 4th. So that's when I'll go live, and you'll also have the replay available if you can't make it. The time that I go live on those days will most likely be 7 p.m. And when I say go live, I don't mean on social media. I mean like a Zoom meeting, like we're here today. And then the bootcamp days will be in the group, and you'll be able to tell me about like your process that you're going through right now, so that I can help you through whatever you need help with writing in that moment. And then of course I already mentioned your manuscript first draft will be done by the end of the 14 days. And then I'll have a bonus there for you to take advantage of. Well, not take advantage of, but to have basically as a gift. It's going to be my book publishing checklist, so that if you are going through the self-publishing process, you'll be able to basically go ahead and have the whole blueprint to self-publish your book, you know? So basically, I recommend this for you if you're ready to go ahead and get started. And I literally walk you through every step of writing your book during this challenge as well. So don't worry about like not knowing anything. Like we're starting from ground zero to, you know, finishing the book. And then also, so everything I covered today, we're covering in the boot camp, but more. And then you actually get that participation from other people and then with me, right? And then I just want to say, if you're one of those people though that are not able to really like hold yourself accountable, you might need a one-on-one with me. So hit me up and I'll give you that information for you to just book a book consultation with me, because you might need to just get in my one-on-one program, so that you can go through, if you know that you're going to need help with like writing and publishing your book and you need me to, you know, hold your hand closely throughout that process, then I recommend that doing it that way. But if you know that you're like a go-getter, a self-starter, and as long as you have a blueprint and something to follow along with, and you know that accountability support each week, each day, then you can go ahead and do the boot camp. So it is normally $2,400, but today, basically, if you decide to do the boot camp, then it'll be just $1,200 if you allow me to use you as like a case study, right? So the process of you writing your book, basically, I can use that as like a case study for, you know, my marketing and things. So basically like a testimonial, that type of thing, right? So yeah, it's just $1,200. I do have a payment plan available. And the deposit required for that is $400 if you're gonna be getting on that payment plan. And the first payment will be today, and then there'll be 3 payments of $400 basically. So next Saturday and then the Saturday after that, if that makes it easier. Then I also have a financing option available, in which just $300 deposit is required. And then it takes you 3 days for you to get funded. So that is available as well. So if you don't want to just go ahead and put down the money right now for the workshop, I need some water, y'all. I realize I've been talking this whole time. So yeah, if you don't want to go ahead and put all the money down right now, you want to use basically your credit to finance it, then that's a great option for you to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put information in the chat for the, actually what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna switch my screen over to show you the application so that you can just see what we're working with. Y'all still with me?
Yes, I am. I think those are amazing options.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so can you see the new screen that I shared?
Yes.
So this is, if you're gonna be doing the financing option, this is gonna be the application that I send you. And you would just have to let me know what option you're interested in doing. But you just click here, apply for financing, and I'll just go there right now and just go through it real quick. So this is just gonna be like a soft pull telling you what you will qualify for. So it's not actually like pulling your credit until after you like accept one of the offers that they give you, and then they'll actually do the like pull on your credit, like actually, put it on your credit, and you will have filled out the application for funding, and then all of that, so this is just telling you what you are qualified for. So I will say that if you have a 580 credit score and above, you're going to automatically be accepted for this. So if you know that your credit score is below 580, then I wouldn't even try to like apply for this. I mean, you can ask me to send it to you if you want, but I know already what what they will accept. So for your loan purpose, you want to put other. You definitely don't want to put business or anything like that. But you want to put other. That is going to give you the better chance of getting the amount of money that you need. And then another important thing, just the employment status. If you have a business, of course, you can put like whatever business. Even if you have like a job, whatever you're making the most money from is what you want to put as your employment status. And then what else? Let's see. Oh, if you do want to apply with a co-applicant, you can. Your credit is gonna, whoever is the applicant, their credit is gonna be run once you actually fill out the application, but the co-applicant, their information is only gonna be used from their employment. So that can help you to better, like, get a better financing option. So if you do have like a husband or a wife or somebody like that that wants to like help you on your application, it won't be their credit unless they're the person that applies. It'll just be their income, if that makes sense. So I have links for every other, like for deposits and all that. So just let me know if you are interested in either one of those options, and we can move forward with it. But I just thank you all for coming to this workshop. Like this has been really fun. Like even like knowing that I could possibly be helping you all get started on writing your books. Like I definitely want to have like feedback, right? Will you be offering the workshop later in the year if you want to get started a few months from now? So I don't know if I'm going to be doing the workshop. Like I can't promise that. I don't know. But I'm here now. I'm not sure right now, Carrie, but thank you for asking. I may be, you never know. But we'll just see. I know that we're starting on Thursday, so if you apply if you're doing a financing option, if you apply anywhere from today to Monday, then that will be good because we start the workshop on Thursday. And even if you are doing one of the other options, let me know so I can send you the link for you to put your deposit down, and we can get that rolling. But thank you all, and I hope you all have a beautiful, wonderful weekend. Thank you, y'all.
Welcome. Thank you. Love you.
Love y'all. Take care.